each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Yeah.
So the next thing is, what are you doing for your own self spiritually? What are you ready to bring forward?
Do I have to answer that question?
No, you don't.
Okay. I mean, well, I guess the general answer to that question is that I'm, slowly moving towards a place where I feel comfortable in, like, all the areas, spiritually, psychologically. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of things to take care of before I can, like, completely focus and dedicate on the spiritual side, like being able to navigate kind of the system effectively, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just like my excuse to prevent myself from doing the work, but I mean, I just feel like I'm on a slow, long journey.
You're riding the surfboard of reality, and every now and then you get off the surfboard and you sun on the beach, and then you get back on the surfboard and surf reality. So you got to determine at what point is being on the beach just as much as surfing as being out in the water, figuring out how to make your inner experiences just as rich as the outer experiences.
Yes, that is my ultimate aim, and I'm just walking towards it slowly.
Okay. So what other kind of questions do you have?
So kind of related to the friend question. Okay, so you have talked about when you masturbate and you use like another person as kind of your fantasy to get things going, like this is energy that affects them. So, I mean, for me, and I'm hoping a lot of other people identify with this, my kind of like options are, a fantasy that's based in the system of domination and control, or using an individual that is like a real person that I know and like creating in my head kind of a love type, healthy, safe relationship, and then like facilitating the like orgasmic experience based off of that. So it's like, what is better? To like use a real person and affect their energy, but have it be grounded in love. I mean, that has to be better than using like a D&C type fantasy. Or if none of those are good options, like, I mean, how do you masturbate? Like, what is the kind of fantasy that you should be thinking about that's like a safe, healthy, energetic thing to do?
Good question. I'm glad that you asked it in that frequency and gave it all of that energy, because sometimes people hesitate fully saying what they want. You really want to know, how can I get release when I'm not with someone that is actually successful, that creates the proper things, so you have a dopamine release, so you feel good and you got that glow back in you? Well, the answer is going to come through all of those techniques. But to also understand that when we only use one technique, we find ourselves creating more and more and more of a link to that person. And it's the link that triggers the orgasm. And there's a very fine line, whether it's a man or a woman, of what the link actually does to trigger the release. In a male expression, let's just say the sexual fantasy involves, I don't know, a guy and somebody at work, and that girl at work has no idea that the guy is doing that. Now the guy, it initially feels a little guilty or feels really good because no one can see it but himself. And then when he's in that moment and has an intense release and lays back and is going through that and pictures that woman in his mind, he is now interweaving on her dream world his sexual release.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a woman does the same thing to a man. And your exact question is, how do I get to the highest light, get the release, and not affect that other person? Well, it comes
Mm-hmm.
down with if it's somebody you're with, you can tell them. If it's somebody you're not with, you are in a very rock and a hard place because that itch and itch grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's the itch that leads us into domination and control, dominatrixing, rape fantasies, and all those other things because those are the bottom of the barrel. Those are the things the body can instantly go for to get that instant release instead of that release that could take 45 minutes to 3 hours to get with multiple sessions, whether you're a man or a woman. Men can masturbate 6, 7, 8 times a day. Women can do even more. It's a matter of not abusing the organ, learning how to work the fingers, the hands, and sometimes it literally isn't about who to focus on. It's about yourself. Can I create a Kundalini release that isn't sexual? Well, what you're thinking, you're fingering yourself, you're playing with yourself, and you're in that scenario. Do you really need an outward fantasy when you have your entire frequency of being there that could experience that orgasmic release on its own? Can you have a sovereign, free-willed, ecstatic, erotic expression of the self? The answer is yes. Is it easy? Well, it takes focus. There are tremendous teachings when it comes to some of the sexual arts like a tantra and some of the other ones that teaches how men and women masturbate with no release for several weeks and then have intense releases, and then their kundalinis will be awakened for several months afterwards, and then they'll be in celibacy for that 7 months, and then they'll meet up on a time of a full moon and they'll bang their brains out and their kundalini will be active for another 6 months. That's ultimately what you're looking for. A organization, a culture that accepts that you could have those orgasmic releases and have spiritual kundalini releases without the perverted fantasies that our culture is constantly impressing upon us. So can you use the construction worker that whistled at you? Absolutely. But when you begin to become attached to it several sessions in a row, you have to look at what part of you is fueling that. And then you have to make sure as a man or a woman that you don't choose this guy this day, this person this day, this person this day, and you are just going through the meat market. People want to create fantasies. Well, if you're going to create a fantasy, don't make it this world. Make it your own. Make it steampunk. Make it 10 years into the future where peace is already here, where unity consciousness already happens, and allow yourself to even explore what a fourth dimensional dating and sexual scenario might even be like. And maybe, just maybe, that's the sexual release you need. A person that you created in that unity experience. People go through... Yeah, people go through these fantasy creation times, especially when they're kids growing up, of what it takes to get that release. We can look at this different. Let's just start as a rule of thumb. If it's not working for you now, whatever it is that you're doing, try something different. Try literally in your mind, visualize what a fourth dimensional dating view is like. Disclosure has come. We know that they're real. There's a pause before we can go out there and they can come down here. And there's a chance that you can find true love on this world, or you can wait for it to be an off-world. You can even give yourself an online dating scenario in which you inevitably meet a person, in the psychic dream world of the unity future, and where you could travel to a new world together and have all the sexual fantasies that you want. Not in domination and control, though. Out of that culture.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Do you want me to answer any further, any specific parts?
I feel like like any good mentor, I like ask a question kind of wanting a specific step 1, step 2 answer. But you have given me like a million things and hopefully other people to work with and I get the thread. And I feel like for me at least the question has been answered. So
Okay. All right, we're going to take one more caller.
Okay, our next caller is from Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Charlotte, North Carolina, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, what is your name?
This is Dave, the traveling busboy.
Dave, the traveling busboy. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Excited. You're coming to Seattle.
Very, very cool. So what kind of questions you want to ask today?
Well, I think I'll follow along with some of the questions that came earlier about the health and that. I had some issues and, I went and got a blood test back in June and numbers were bad, but I've made changes and I think I've turned the corner on that. What do you see?
On your health
Anything
issues?
on
your health issues?
Yes.
What year were you born?
1962.
All right, let me scan a little deeper. All right, so you have a really big hunk of, I'm just going to call it brown energy, really brown energy in your lower intestine. And I think that at some point you took on the energy of somebody else out of love, thinking that they couldn't handle something, and you're still holding on to it, which is causing a distortion frequency in your health process. And I think if you could just get that brown energy out, you would see yourself as majoritively healed already. This energy is almost like pretending to make you think you're still sick, because that's what you took from someone else. And I want to say that it's been within the last 4 years that you did this.
Okay.
And I think it was a sexual exchange in the astral world.
Okay. How would I go about clearing it? Is it like meditation or is this colonic?
No, this is purging out of the lower intestine energy that's directly affecting the dreaming body. So you're going to need to do some form of pulling of the energy ceremony. You know how clowns pull out those handkerchiefs that are never ending?
Right.
So you're going to have to build up energy with Tai Chi, Qigong, something to that effect that sends energy to the Danchen. Large volumes. Deep breathing, yoga that's deep breathing, that's sending to the core frequency, because you gave away some of your core energy and replaced it with somebody else's distorted core energy. So it's a purging, an energetic purging, an energy colonic that's going to come out just below your belly button. And it may energetically hurt you because there's love for that person still.
Now I felt my lower Dan Chen around, I think it was probably the Lion's Gate or that, it activated really strongly.
Yeah, because it's trying to purge. That's why. It wants you to be your full sovereign I am, fully empowered being and not
carrying around somebody else's, suitcase and luggage in your intestinal tract.
Okay, because I've been, very positive and following the teachings and that, and
that's why it's come up
looking at
now.
it.
That's why it's come up now. You fell in love with someone, and that's okay. Now you got to let go of it. It's not continuing. That's it. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. It's not the system. You fell in love with someone, and you took on a healing and took one of their energies that was very disruptive to them, and now you've got to purge it and send it back to them with love. That's it. This is not going to be hard for you. It's just going to take focus to admit, I loved. The love is not continuing, and I have to let it go so I can love again and find my clear, right, and perfect frequency of a person to be with.
Is it from guilt that I'm feeling, or?
No, it was an in the moment thing where you felt that person needed healing, and you just did it as a human and a higher spirit. Humans do this all the time. Being a person of energy and being a healer yourself, sometimes we become a little zealotous. Okay? It's just forgiving and purging. So what I would say is you could probably do like a 2 to 3 hour workout focusing on the core, bringing your face inside your intestinal tract, and anything that isn't your signature frequency match has to go. Okay?
Could I do self-Reiki too?
Yeah, all that. You can bring the Reiki symbols, the fire serpent in particular, the Tibetan Dakumyo, she'll work very, very well with that. It's like a thunderstorm with lightning coming through, separating what is yours and what is others. And just start pulling the energy out, throwing it into the fire or into a can of salt or a big bowl of salt. This isn't hard for you. This won't be hard. You've done the good work, man. You really have. The next level here is, all right, I fell in love with someone. Now I've got to let their energy go. And I know that there's going to be a void space that I might feel alone if that goes. And that's okay. That's okay. This is where you got to be on life partner purpose. That you're going to fill that void space with who is going to be the right partner. What is it that you really want out of a partner?
Yeah, because I feel my energy and my path is opening up and clearing, and I'm just looking for that person to share it with who will be there.
Right. And once you purge that out and redefine that void space, I think your signature frequency match will come. And you'll be able to see her. Not like you were 4, 5, 6 years ago before you went through your clearing and your awakening.
Okay.
Okay?
Well,
It's a really simple purging process. Then afterwards is you got to be on course for creating life path for life partner.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Are you ready to, open a business for yourself?
I'm getting there with my qigong practice is a healing practice, and some other technology that I'm finding out about to measure the human field, and that, and tie it all together into like a wellness type business.
I would tell you this right now. If you have the money, by the end of the year, go rent a spot that has an open sign in business hours and start promoting yourself left and right. I think if you wait another year, you're going to miss the bus, Mr. Traveling Busboy.
Okay.
You don't got another year left because the awakening you're going to go through, you need clients to validate, affirm, and confirm all the years you've practiced. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
You didn't do all this practice just for, self-help and personal wisdom. Deep down inside, you knew you needed to do this for everyone in the world.
Yeah, that's,
Okay?
uncovering the secret.
That's right. And then not making it a secret anymore. And be willing
Right.
to challenge the fucking light worker community out there that says don't charge. Okay? I'm
Okay.
swearing for a reason, because there are, let's just say, some entourage about you that doesn't allow the money for you to flow. Okay?
Spiritual entourage, or?
Yeah, every now and then we get a zealot angel out there. That they are out there that really is enforcing you. You should earn no money for this. Bullshit. It's your divine co-creative choice. If no healers ever made money, there would never be a healer in the world. Doctors would be lawyers, and everyone would die. Okay?
And I try to look at the money, at the black magic level, and
And that's your big fear right now. That if I start using my light and start taking money, I'll get exposed to the black magic.
yeah,
Only if you
not out of
believe.
the credit.
Only if you believe they can harm you, will they harm you. Only if you let them in, will they be in.
Yeah, I'm finding that, truer and truer as I try and, put into the hologram all these, the contract revocations and just the co-creative, greatness of being.
Right. And now you should be a co-creative greatness of being that has an open sign in a physical brick and mortar building. You've reached that level.
Yeah.
The traveling bus boy, traveling bus boy's got to get off the bus and and open a business.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now there's something else here. So every now and then you get flashes of great spiritual brilliance, don't you?
Yeah.
Who do you share those with?
I have a close friend.
Okay, man, woman?
Woman, yeah.
Okay. Is there feelings that you have for her?
Oh, yes, very strong.
Is it really going to go nowhere?
Up in the air right now.
I'm going to be blunt. It's not going to go anywhere. Anywhere at all. And it's a delusion for you to keep sharing your brilliance with that person if they aren't going to be truly open with you and give back the same way. Okay? You've got some you've got some very confused love frequencies in you right now. Extremely confused love frequencies. Okay?
Yeah, I think in my natal chart, Mars and Venus square each other, so it's always been kind of a...
Yeah. But in this particular scenario, you're sharing your brilliance with someone who ultimately will never be able to give you back any of their brilliance because it's invested into someone else. You'll always be getting 10% of her. And that's it. And that's like pulling a Band-Aid off of a wound for you right now. That same person is whose energy is in that brown energy that's in you now.
Okay.
Forgive yourself. That's it. Forgive yourself. She can still be a friend, but you have to find somebody else that you can share your brilliance with, that honestly, in equal co-creation, shares their brilliance back with you. There can no longer be these one-way relationships.
Yeah, that seems to have been a repeating pattern of mine.
Right. Right. And you know it's a pattern, and only you can break the pattern. You break the pattern by forgiveness. Brutal, brutal forgiveness. Two words that aren't usually put together. Brutal forgiveness. For yourself. Okay?
Yeah, because I guess I try and project that it'll be different, and that's
right.
what I've got to really forgive.
Yeah. Really forgive, so that there's no longer this distortion of, she will love me, she will come out of whatever she's in, she will join me, she won't. Okay? If it is, it'll be for a week, and then she'll go back. If it is, it'll be for a month, and then she'll go back.
So the expectation is my limitation.
Yeah, exactly.
With this one.
With this one. And again, she's not a bad person. She's just in a relationship that makes her truly unavailable to you at what you want. Okay?
Yeah, and accepting that is maybe that's what the eclipse will bring.
You can make it bring that through the separation of densities. Yes. This is where you got to do the partner on life path process for you. Tell the eclipse what I want, but don't make your bars so high that you'll never see that person. So many people make the mistake, they have to be the supermodel and the spiritual supermodel. Okay? It don't work that way. You need a person that's the signature frequency match for you, not a signature frequency match for them. Okay?
Okay.
The next thing for you to consider, you've done the healing. Now it's the inner work on life path. Meaning getting the job, and then the emanation of attraction and the attractor factor of the woman that's the signature frequency match for you.
Yep. That totally resonates.
Okay? And again, that other person, they're not a bad person at all. They have feelings for you, but right now they're in a situation where they need to be where they're at. And there is no intention of long-term change. There may be some short-term change that may give you a few fun times, but ultimately that's all it will really be. And you can't live like that guy. You can't.
I don't want to.
You don't want to. It's just going to pull your heartstrings. That's all it's going to do. So one more little suggestion for you. This coming eclipse, I want you to write a passionate, erotic letter to that future beloved. And I don't want you to make it, 3 lines, like a pickup line. Make it like 6 pages. Okay? And I mean passionate, erotic, and if it doesn't give you a chubby when you're writing it, you're not doing it right.
Okay.
Okay? And do that during the eclipse. Okay?
Will do.
Allow yourself that energy. Allow it. Just allow it. And you're going to find a mystical moment in that erotic writing. Oh, thank you very much.
Where was that from?
I don't know. A random burp from a random universe.
It wasn't me.
I could tell it wasn't you. Alrighty, man. I got to move on. Thank you so much.
Love you, brother.
I love you too, and I'll see you at the event.
Yep. Take care.
Alrighty.
Sherry, welcome to the
Sherry.
show. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Where are you calling from today?
Today from California because I'm visiting family this week.
Ah, in a different sacred geometry energy. So how did you find out about me?
My girlfriend of mine sent me a link to one of your talks, and I've pretty much been watching them ever since. I think that was back in June.
What very cool.
I've been enjoying your Galactic series and trying to stay up with the live calls.
So of the material, what of it that has jumped out at you or helped you change?
Well, I've definitely got motivated with the detoxing that you guys were talking about, so I've been starting to work on that and trying to do a little deeper cleansing and detoxing. And I already loved salt and salt baths and all that, so all that was very confirming.
Very
and
good.
I've really enjoyed your Galactic series, your talks. I'm trying to get through those where you've got like 18 of them recorded on your site.
The ones with Lance White?
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's another series with Chris Hales also. I believe there's another 30 episodes where we go even deeper into galactic history. I believe all in all 180 hours. Something around crazy around there. Yeah. Well, that's why we have an archives, everyone, and those are free to view on YouTube. At Galactic Historian YouTube channel. Anyways, we are going to jump into your reading. Have you heard me do readings?
Yes, I have. That's actually, I got very interested when I saw you do some of your, like the Trail of Tears and things like that.
Very cool. So what I'd like you to do is tell me about your first 10 minutes of the day. And what I'm going to do is tune into for today, and I'm going to tune into the infinite dream world energy that is you. And I'm going to look how the awake you in the infinite dream world you met in this morning. And from there, we're going to create an Akashic record reading that links into the 20,000 other worlds that you've lived in. Because like me, you personally, one of the reasons I chose you out of the big list of people that are applying for readings is you have all the soul codes to everyone. Just like I do, and about 85, 90,000 other people currently in the world, and a potential for another trillion more people to have these complete soul codes. You are at a state where you have evolved certain things, but this I Am Presence of the now has certain things that it has to work out that it did as it was a child. So tell me about your dream and your waking of this morning.
My sleep's been a little different here because I'm at my parents' house and on a different time zone. But this morning I wake up, and usually what I do is I kind of lay in bed and wake, and I usually visualize the energy and focus on the colors and things like that, aligning my chakras and stuff like that. So this morning I don't necessarily remember a dream. I just remember relaxing and waking up. And I ended up getting up and going downstairs and sitting out on the patio and meditating a little bit.
You actually had to time travel to get here. You had to go in a different time zone.
Really?
Oh, you think about it. How long ago did you find out you were going to have a reading?
Last night.
Last night.
He called me yesterday afternoon.
All right. So this is the key here. You when we talk time zones, this is not traditional scientific time traveling. You have your local bubble of time where you live, and then a few miles away from your house, there's another local bubble of time because people observe time differently. We all share a common observance, but you, in your dream world, are going to different local bubbles of time and trying to recalibrate. There's a particular spot when you go to sleep that your body goes through a dreaming process, lets the dreaming body out of the navel passage without a cord attached to it. It's a photonic light body. It goes to this particular, I'm going to call it like some kind of pasture, and there's a church that was burned down there a really, really, really long time ago, and there was a timepiece there. And you're working with numbers of other people that live in your area, and you are reconnecting time. And when Tanach got a hold of you, you were getting ready to go on a dream journey back to your parents' home. So you can reconnect a local dream time, physical time, numbers of times, into another local dream time. This is what you have been weaving through the world of time and fake time. This is what your soul has been doing for countless lifetimes, over and over again. You are so interwoven with the accuracy of real time versus false sacred geometry time. And you're constantly trying to give tidbits and pointers and directional modes to different people that you meet that relates around time so that their consciousness can once again be realigned here in the now.
Wow. Amazing. Is that why I don't always remember everything and I wake up tired?
Wake up tired because your dreaming mind is overworking. Way overworking. You're having too much of your dreaming world starting to affect you. And you're not able to remember these dreams because they are so vast. And you, at this point, are still a micro being that hasn't gone through the awakening process where your third eye has settled into your heart and allowed it to be a unified presence, because the third eye was never meant to be separate from the heart. It's always meant to be over in a series of layers so we can learn through heart-based expression or mind-based expression or the expression of duality what we're trying to get through this experience. Your experience is about calibrating time so people can go into realignment. That means your physical life, there would have been phases that you would go through. You'd be done with something, and then a fuse would be lit, and it would be over, and then you'd start the next fuse, and it would be over and over. And you haven't finished the process of deeply self-nurturing yourself. You have a particular injury to your gallbladder. You have 2 ribs that are out of place just below your armpit. It appears you have some sort of calcification on your spinal column. This looks like some kind of one second, let me scan through it. Particularly around your neck and left shoulder. There's at some point in time there was a heavy-duty energy harvesting entity draining power out of you and using your left scapula. It was like this feeder tube that was installed into it, and this was, you got caught in false time, and it took you quite a long time. This is age 14 to about age 22, 21.
Wow.
This is what. All right, where were you living at age 14? What's country?
In Del Toro, California.
Del Toro, California. Del Toro, why were you there?
So I lived in California for a long time, and then 15 years ago moved to North Carolina.
Interesting. Another North Carolina thread comes through.
Another.
You're related. This is going right to Ponce de Leon. Okay, you're a time traveler. You're a person that calibrates time. That means your soul's purpose each lifetime is to figure out about time and how to apply that to yourself so you can get the most done with your soul, family, friends, or yourself this lifetime. So,
is that like a multidimensional?
No, it's how you work with karma. There are souls that are karmic retributors. That means they've given away their power to the system, and the system says, here's a mission as a soul. This particular person is going to need a really bad girlfriend. Go be it. And you go, I volunteer, because you're a retributing soul. And then there are karmic contributors, and then there are karmic resolvers, and then there are karmic creators. And then there are people who are incarnators. They have no karma when they come in. And then there are people specifically designed to look for incarnators and to bring them back into the reincarnation system and trap them in. Well, you're an incarnating being with the purpose of recreating time, so a karma cannot affect you in not only this dimension and time stream, but any other dimension or time stream, even if you were in unawareness then of what you're doing now. It's a way of unifying all of your soul shards under the frequency of the end time, which is soul unity. It isn't about apocalypse or any of that. It's literally your soul coming to a point where you have calibrated it. They're all using the same frequency of dream time, and therefore they're all one.
Wow. I was so nervous about this call. Oh, that is amazing.
All right, so what kind of questions do you have?
My goodness. Well, I guess you kind of have mentioned my mission. So the current health issue that I've been experiencing has been the weight. Has been just problems with my weight vacillating up and down, and it doesn't seem like the diet and certain things have really helped it. Is that from overworking the dream body? Is what you were saying?
Yes, you're not getting accurate dream sleep. Your body is going into dream sleep, and your dreaming body has taken much more sovereignty than it should this lifetime, and many people are in that scenario. What that means is you don't go the full 40, 50 or minutes or 2 hours that it takes to build up the proper energy so your dreaming body can leave in the proper way. Like, it's not cracking an egg open. There are times that your dreaming body has said, put up the middle finger and said, I'm out. Go to sleep now. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The dreaming body is taking its mission far too seriously. You are the I am presence. You are the one that is here in the now for the experience. That includes the sleep experiences. You're a part of those too.
Mm-hmm.
So taking the sovereignty back from the dream world so you get proper dream nurturing. The proper dream nurturing is when you wake up and you're, wow, I've got a spark in my eye. That's not Kundalini release. That's proper dream connection. Even if you don't remember the dream, that you wake up refreshed, like it was 12 hours of sleep in 5. That's what you have to begin to demand from your dreaming body in an out loud expression to begin to change the frequency pattern of whenever you're going to sleep. It takes over and determines how it will leave and how it will enter without a full regard for what it may do for the energy of the body and the I am presence who has to wake up and continue to go through the day without the proper amount of energy to fund whatever sentinels you may have up for watching for negative entities or to fund synchronicities to happen to your life so you happen to just have enough outward presence that somebody looks and catches your eye and you now meet that person.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess that's some of what I've been trying to work on is I realized something was out of balance, just trying to figure out how to balance it.
Well, how to balance for you is to understand that you're a dreamer and lucid dreaming is one thing. For you to get to that dreaming stage, you've got to begin to recover your energy. You've got to begin to look at the way you sleep. How often are you doing salt baths?
Well, probably not often enough right now.
All right, so there are some people
I had been using I used the salt packs that you mentioned, behind the neck and the lower back and everything. I had been doing that.
What did it do for you when you first used them?
Well, I felt like I slept better. I actually felt like I slept better.
Is there a reason you stopped using them? Is it just fell out of your tradition, or you didn't remember, or combination of all that?
Sometimes it's just work schedule and whatnot, but recently I had been using them until I went out of town.
Okay. Well, sometimes our body resists because the dreaming body, when you put the salt there, it basically says, no, you can't do that. I'm achieving balance. When you have salt, the great neutralizer at the base of your neck and the base of your tailbone, it doesn't matter what your Kundalini is doing. It doesn't matter what the entities are doing. It doesn't matter what the energy and the environment is. You are stating you're going into neutrality with that salt there. And it's a matter of the quality of the salt, the volume of the salt that determines how much into neutrality you'll get. So getting good sleep means that's what you needed to achieve neutrality so that the dreaming body, the awake mind, and then the heart can come to terms in the dream world. There are times that the dreaming body rushes out of the body, so it ignores the heart, often. And then there are times that the dreaming body won't leave until it gets an answer out of the brain about something, or vice versa. And our dreaming bodies have their own missions, so that's separate of us. But those missions ultimately affect the frequencies of the people we meet, the people we interact with, the love, hate, and all those other things in between. We are our own teachers, and our dreaming bodies are in the future, but they're in the future of unity already. They're already in 2050, 2090, 2 million AD, 2 million BC. They're wherever they want to be in their own expression of time that's layered over of the I am presence existence. When we have out-of-body experiences, it's when we come out from our heart, through our third eye, and out our crown. A very different experience. You have a cord attached to you. And then when we are remote viewing, or we are clairvoyant or clairescent of something, we are extending our photonic light expressions. You have to come to understand there are all different disciplines. Your power is the ability to control your dreaming body. That means where your belly button is, 2 inches above it and 2 inches below it is where your dreaming body is, literally, in your intestinal tract. All of your energy for dreaming and your ability to remember your dreams is based off of your intestinal tract. That's the way your DNA skin suit was set up. It is a dreaming skin suit, but it has a time-sensitive spirit inside it.
Wow.
Okay? So hold on one second here. Let me scan deeper. Time-sensitive soul, DNA skin suit. Frustration, hesitation, obsession. There are all sorts of things that your dreaming body is doing. I'm going to call it rebellious. There are times that your dreaming body will go into sacred geometry places that it knows other people who are dreaming are trapped there and being fed off of, and it'll purposely screw up the local time grids over there so that the collection points are there and people get natural dream sleep. You don't do this for yourself. You do it for your friends and your family in the dream world, but you don't set up these trip lines in your own world to stop things from harvesting you. There are a number of situations where you still have a lot of sacred space backdoors into some relationships that just turn toxic in their own way, and the amount of love that you have for them even expresses in the energy world that they can come up in their psychic body with a credit card and go bzink on your spirit, and you give them the money and they walk away. You have to begin to close those because your dreaming body is really overworking those people, altering their dream frame, their time frame, so that they can get dreams and heal to eventually pay you back that energy. But as the I am presence, they're never going to be able to pay you back that energy. They've taken so much already that the amount of energy that they have in would take 50 years to repay you.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
I
So
have no clue.
and let's go into age 19, 20, 21. What were you doing?
Okay. 19, 20, 21. I lived in California and was probably in college. And at some point I started working for a law firm.
So right away you would have been in a professional business world from college with professional business situations in our male-dominated society is constantly doing what to a woman in business?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was.
It goes deeper than that. Right. It goes deeper than that. You were a beautiful, smart, young woman in the meat market, along with all the other women in the meat market. That's the way the office life works. Even out of the office, it's very similar. You got caught into that in your dream world, and that is where you began to follow the hierarchical order where a patriarchy took over part of your dream world, and you began taking orders in the physical world as well as the dream world.
Wow.
So those are the things you need to begin to remove from your frequency so the power of your dreaming body is returned back to you. So when you go to sleep as the I am presence, you're telling the dreaming body, no, you are not dreaming in these other places. You are going to the place of our true soul family, and we are going to have a soul family reunion. This is my will of the I am presence. It is the way of the now. We are beings of the now. Even those of my dreaming body are always in the now. In this moment of commandment, before I go to sleep, I enforce to my body, mind, and spirit that I shall dream nowhere else but with my soul family in full soul family reunion. And that is the type of wording you're going to have to be bringing to yourself as you're going to sleep as well as during the day, to begin to remind the body. The body at times gets cocky, and it literally thinks it's the soul, and the I am presence, the soul spark, is the experience. It's the other way around. We created this body in co-creation with our mother and father. It's equal parts. So now we have to come into, you're into this meat market. Obviously, you had relationships during that time. Those particular relationships that have mental abuse about them, verbal abuse, the job has it, everything has it. Nothing is perfect all the time. Okay?
Right.
Those particular incidents in which you want to begin thinking about again, like at work, the adult mind you have now. You know, man, I was a beautiful, bright, young little girl, but I did not have the street smarts of these people at the law firm. You know, was there a particular gentleman in the office that tried to sleep with everyone around?
Yes, actually there was.
Okay, and how do you think that affected you as an energetic level with the person that you are now? It was allowed and celebrated for him, and it was what if you were to do it?
Oh, yeah.
Social ruin.
Right? Right.
You would have been immediate social ruin. You would have never worked there again if you got caught. But if he got caught, it didn't matter. That is the types of things that you have to begin to resolve. All the standards you grew up in. That's where you're going to get your power back. That is why your dreaming body has turned really rebellious and decided to take the plan into its own hands and do it all in the dream world and say, no, well, screw it. You don't get to have experience everything. You'll get it at the end when we're all in unity, and I'll share everything I did over here. Yeah. It's your life. And it knows it.
Oh, my goodness. Whew. Wow.
So we come to the point in the reading, well, to get this dreaming body back, it's looking at the colon cleanse, just like I said last week, as the thing for you. You know, as well as doing talking by the fire, telling your story to the fire. In your case, it's going to be telling your double standards to the fire. Why? Because they've affected you so much. When I look into your Akashic frequency, I see about 6 scenarios where you were so confused by these double standards that you had to find conformity to something. And you have to find those moments in yourself where you chose conformity instead of being your full self. Okay, because the dreaming body is now making you conform. And no, it can't conform like that anymore.
Right.
So do you have any questions?
Well, that's a lot to absorb. Well, I do have a question. As far as some of the things that were going on here on the planet, like I went to Glastonbury a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and some interesting things happened there, not that I totally understood it. Is there a way to get information on that?
Oh, yeah. Glastonbury, one of the most haunted cities in the world.
Oh, great.
So what happened when you went to Glastonbury?
It looked like some type of crystal prism. You know, like I was asleep, and I kind of became awake, and it looked like being in a crystal prism, a large one, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was hearing something that sounded like downloads, you know, like card shuffling, like that. And I didn't really exactly understand what was going on. And
you were recalibrating time. Glastonbury was a major location for the creation of false time. And for you to get an accuracy of what false time was in all different dimension and time strains, you'd have to go to the place of false time and have a spiritual experience there.
Wow. Oh, that did happen. Okay, well, that's interesting.
Okay, what else happened in there?
And Glastonbury, I remember climbing the Glastonbury tour, and as I was climbing it, I was definitely feeling a lot of heart, palpitations and things. There was obviously some trauma or something that had occurred there.
Yeah,
and,
you died on that hill before.
Yes, that's what.
As well as a number of other hills in that area, as well as the Fairy Stone in France. You were there. Let's see, where else were you? You were at the Battle of Vercingetorix in Gaul. You were at Cannae. You were in a whole bunch of Roman stuff. Defeating the Romans. You were in the Gaul side always, or the other. You were always against the Romans.
Wow.
You were Munda with Caesar. You're even attached to Caesar's assassination.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, you actually crafted the blade that was put into one of the people's hands that was to kill Caesar.
Wow.
And your soul is extremely proud of that murder.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah. We all have things to learn, and there are times that souls are proud of doing that. And in this world, it can be very, very difficult to understand that why. What Caesar meant was absolute, abhorrent lies. What's recorded in history is not accurate at all. So the removal of him was a massive removal of a major timeline incursion to hijack our history. As we all know, there are very similar things that are going on that can be made about Jesus Christ and Julius Caesar. They both crossed a river. They were both born in the same time, so on and so forth. It's what Caesar was doing to craft his imagery after his death to hijack the Jesus name. But so much more of it was prevented by the way he was killed, because they killed him on all dimensions and time streaming, and he said, no, you are not doing this. And a whole bunch of light being stepped forward, and that's their proud, because they stepped forward in unity to an extreme dark force that was about to hijack 1 million years worth of history.
Wow.
All right, do you have any last questions? I got to move on to the next caller.
Okay, no, I think that I'm kind of speechless at the moment. But I thank you for your help. And it definitely looks like I've got some work here.
I would seriously look at doing the colon cleanse, the talk by the fire. I mean, we talked about it the last show, so you can go back and listen to that one and really apply it to yourself. Really look at 2-week colon cleanse combined with the colonics, combined with talking to the fire, the contract revocations, to give yourself that chance to get your control over your dreaming body. And you will have to write some specific things that you can say before you sleep. They're slightly poetic that say to your dreaming body, we are coming to unity, we are coming to neutrality. There's no more of this rebellious time. It's time to come home, and it's time to work together.
Right. Okay. I will do
All right,
it.
Sherry, thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Okay, next caller is Morgan.
Morgan, are you there?
I'm here.
How you doing
Hi.
today? How you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good today. What questions do you want to ask?
Well, my first question is about I wanted to kind of on the tails of what you've been talking about the last week about with a lot of women, if I have any sexual trauma that I need to look at, and because I've kind of been trying to do a lot of work on, I have been doing a lot of work on talking to my younger self and doing all the revocations and things like that. And I'm still having some issues around climax and sex and those kinds of things.
All right, so it isn't that it's the negative really affecting you. These are just plain old projections from being a woman in a city. So sometimes when you are 19, the bum in the street has a fantasy of you, or the high school kid on the bus still has a fantasy of you 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So what you should begin to do is clump everything that has never had actual sexual relations with you, physical, into a single energy frequency of removal of contracts, vows, and agreements in the astral unseen worlds. So any astral sex engagement through fantasy is disengaged. Those dream worlds are cleared out. There's the advanced dream world clearing and the course that you can go and use and tailor certain parts of that to deal with sexual projections that are trying to get into your dream world. And then begin to integrate those into your regular contract revocation stuff. So halfway between the divine feminine, you can insert a paragraph that defines, your saying of no of all sexual projections, or even while you're using the shaman's death, that I'm no longer allowing any form of fantasy sexual based projections in my frequency, because I have now aware of it and I cannot allow those distortions into my frequency.
Okay.
Okay?
I can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What, any other questions on that line?
Yeah, I do. Well, I just had a question about my mom who has chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I was listening to you talk about the other gentleman who, I think it was on Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
That he had CLL, and I'm wondering if, I have a feeling it's not the same thing that other elder was going through, but I wanted to ask if you have any thoughts about that with my mom.
How old is your mom?
My mom is 64.
And what's her first name?
Her name is Robin.
I'm scanning it. How far away does she live from you?
She's in Washington, D.C., and I'm in L.A.
Yeah, opposite states. Is she willing to move out to you to get better?
Not really. She doesn't have any friends out here or anything. She's already doing chemotherapy, a targeted chemotherapy. I tried to work with her for a while, but I think I was too close, and it wasn't really the right thing for me to work with her.
Unless there's going to be a new level of closeness between you guys, there's very little you can do other than be the daughter that she expects.
Yeah.
And yes, expectations create limitations here. Can you insert other concepts other than saying there are far better cancer hospitals in Los Angeles than they are on the East Coast? That is an angle. If you could get her to come out post chemo, I think there are a lot of things that you can do with the children, the reinvigoration of the relationship of mother, daughter, granddaughter, so on and so forth. That brings life force back. As for why she has that form of leukemia, there was an era in her life where she was exposed to some very bad chemicals that have broken down her mitochondria. So mitochondria therapy is very, very, very important for her. So there are electromagnetic frequency therapies that can also begin to repair that. PEMF mats, PEMF therapy, so on and so forth.
Yeah, she has a poster that she used for the first time when she got it. She hasn't been using it since then.
Yeah, but if she doesn't use it every day consistently, it's pointless to have a machine.
Yeah.
So there is where you're kind of stuck at. Are you going to hand and foot her through it, or is she going to actually be invested and involved into it? You see,
I can't. I have to come back.
Many people in her generation give all their power away to the doctors. All of it.
Yeah.
An example in my family, if the doctor says this, it's the word of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are members of my family that won't go to the doctor until they're just about dead, like that other caller.
Right.
Okay? Is your mother one of those people that didn't go to the doctor when she was young? Avoided it?
No, she went. She was anemic. They told her when she was younger, so she should get iron infusions and things like that.
Yeah. So it's now built up to a scenario where, because of the exposure to chemicals, I think it was benzene is what I believe it was. Benzene poisoning is what's causing her leukemia.
It was, I think, when she moved east with myself and my sister, she was working in a law firm. She's an accountant.
Yes, well, benzene poison comes from gas stations that leak gasoline into the groundwater, and then you begin to drink it.
Oh,
as well as the printer ink and toner from the 80s and the 90s was so highly toxic to the blood. The industry never wants you to know that. Okay.
Wow.
Now, would your mother be willing to go and see somebody that could do, let's say, a really advanced form of cranial sacral therapy?
Yeah, she would.
All right, so when you find a cranial person that's got, like, you know, the full 5 levels of cranial, 5 levels of visceral manipulation, and 5 levels of lymphatic drain, you know, you see all of their dots are filled in.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the type of people that can transform blood-based diseases and get them out of the blood and the marrow so that the human can begin a new path that doesn't re-include the blood-based programs.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So
We'll
it's
tell
not
her.
hopeless, and I don't think she's going to die from this scenario. It's really about invigorating the hope with her. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. So earlier you were saying you're having troubles still climaxing. Something's going on there too.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's the worry about your mother and your children. It's all related that they are occupying something in your sympathetic and parasympathetic, and when you go to get intimate with your beloved, it's still there, and I'll use the best English for it. It's its own cock block.
Well, even before I had children and before my mom was sick, I didn't climax.
Yeah, but
And I've been doing cranial sacral work, and I've been doing the rotations and doing all that stuff.
And now you have other things, traumas to remove off the clitoris and the G-spots.
Okay.
So there is a time where you have to see sexual healing for sexual healing, separate of kid healing, mom healing, self-healing. Sexual healing is something that you engage at a different frequency, and where you have to have your beloved partner, you know, there's no reason for you not to mechanically get off. It is you and you alone stopping you. Even if you need to enforce them, I need you to be my cheerleader, where, you know, they won't let you give up on yourself. Because right now I see you just giving up on yourself. Yeah.
Well, Rob is definitely a cheerleader for me in this region.
I get that, but there's a different level. You're not accepting his cheerleading, though. You're still giving up, you know, 70% into climax.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So
good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. So ultimately, go back and look at all of your other sexual relationships, kick them all out, and say, this is my beloved, this is who I'm marrying. Why the fuck can't I do this?
Yeah.
And make that your focus, and actually, you know, let your kids go off to school for a week and be on their own. Let your mom be on your own and solely focus on that. Why can't I orgasm?
Okay. I like this assignment.
Okay. Okay. You may need to go and get the special tools that are out there. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So there are some G-spot stimulators that are out there that are fully inserted inside you with just a little tiny string that pulls it out, that has a phone that is remote controlled and apped. I would I would like for you to consider those types of toys. There are other ones where it's like a saddle that's a rocking chair. And then just go to a toy store and don't buy the cheap one, buy the expensive ones, the ones that have all the, 7 zones of pleasure built into them. And it's got to be a point where you can't allow yourself to give up, because right now it's just give up energy is what I see.
Okay. I've been using this thing called the fascia blaster to help with my shoulders and my neck, because I think you said before that there's a lot of stuff there that might be stored and connected to this.
Yes, you are like the Greek Titan Atlas holding the world on your shoulders.
Okay.
When are you going to put the world down? And go and mount your husband and let go of the world and do some sexual acrobatics.
Okay, assignment taken. I will.
All right,
I
even if you got to go and get yourself one of those sex swings. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate your time.
Just really get into the frequency. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Okay.
Okay.
And you're gonna have the tips of your fingers and toes curl and ecstasy fill you.
Alrighty, I'll take it.
All right, darling. Take it easy and have a great day.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.